What is up, guys? It's your boy Rickakis, and today we are going to be showcasing the builds, the weapons, the strats, and the team composition you need to one-phase kill the final boss of the Sundered Doctrine Dungeon, which has just gone live within Destiny 2 episode Heresy. And even if you aren't able to copy me exactly, I guarantee you're going to be able to incorporate several aspects of what we go over into your runs to massively increase your damage. And doing so is very important because this is the newest dungeon. It is fully farmable. Every single time you beat it, even on the same character, you're going to get loot. So if you can start getting efficient with killing that final boss over and over again, he's gonna drop 2 pieces of loot compared to every other encounter's 1. And so you're gonna be showered with some of the most powerful dungeon loot we have ever seen. I made a video on all this stuff yesterday, and I've started to see more people come around, tweet about it, and so on. Yeah, more people doing the math and figuring out how broken these new dungeon weapons are. Definitely check out that video, but let's get started here. First things first, I'm presenting the information in this guide assuming you already know exactly what to do for the mechanics of this encounter. If you don't, check out my complete Sundered Doctrine Dungeon guide linked right up above. Alright. Now, the optimal team composition is going to be 1 Warlock and 2 Titans. Sorry, Hunters. And again, even if you aren't running that exact setup, try to copy these builds to massively increase your damage. So, for the Titan, you want to be on the Arc Striker, and specifically, you want that new Storm's Keep aspect. This is going to make it so that when you're behind your barrier, and make sure to put on a rally barrier, you're going to start building bolt charge, and weapons will discharge that bolt charge into hugely damaging lightning strikes. Aside from that, you really want a Thunder Crash as your super, and then in terms of the fragments, they don't matter quite as much. I have Spark of Recharge, I have Spark of Shock, Spark of Resistance, and then very importantly, guys, you need Spark of Frequency, which makes it so that while amplified, you're going to gain bolt charge faster. And the reason this is able to activate is because in the seasonal artifact, you have flashover. When you gain maximum bolt charge, you also become amplified, and the lightning bolts will do more damage. This is super important. 100% make sure you have flashover on. And then the other thing you really want from the seasonal artifact perk is going to be particle deconstruction. Like, that is the 2 necessary things you need from your seasonal artifact perk. But Overclock and Load and Dielectric aren't bad choices either, but it's mainly Flashover and Particle Reconstruction. And that's because our main DPS weapon is going to be the Queenbreaker Exotic Linear Heavy Fusion Rifle. Got a massive rework, a massive buff this season, and specifically, you need that catalyst that just came out with episode Heresy. If you don't have it, check out my video on that catalyst. I show a super cheesy like solo strat that you can use to get it like incredibly easily. Now, as for some other important things these Striker Titans are going to be using, because they're both using the exact same setup, first of all, for your exotic armor, I was running the Heart of Inmost Light for the beginning part of the encounter, just massively increasing your ability regen, helping you stay alive, do these objectives, and then as you can see, when the boss DPS phase was starting, when you're hiding from like the burning damage, I would just swap to the Cuirass of the Falling Star. That is going to make your Thunder Crash do more damage, and that is what is required, guys. So again, you can run whatever you want as long as you swap to the Cuirass. You have the Cuirass on for that DPS phase. Now, in terms of your armor mods, you want 3 arc weapon surges for the Queensbreaker. Yes, all 3. Don't skimp. This is a really tight damage phase, so every percent matters. Also, if you can incorporate some time dilations so they last longer, that is very important as well. But that's kind of it. The rest of the build is really up to you in terms of other weapons and stuff. That's mainly just going to be for when you're running the beginning part of the encounter and setting up for the boss fight. Now, moving on from there, as for the Warlock, you need to be a Dawnblade Warlock, specifically with the Well of Radiance as your super, of course, the cornerstone to every DPS phase. Then you have Healing Rift. You probably do want to have a Healing Grenade just in case. We have Touch of Flame as well as Icarus Dash here, and then our fragments are going to be Ember of Empyrean, Ember of Torches, Ember of Solace, and Ember of Benevolence. Now, as for the key weapons, it's the Divinity, and this is unfortunately kind of like a requirement, and the reason is that the boss is going to move around, the head is kind of small, it can be difficult to consistently land those Queenbreaker headshots without the Divinity, and moreover, there's actually kind of a glitch going on right now where particle reconstruction, the weaken effect and the increase to damage that linears provide, will actually stack with the debuff Divinity has. So while that is active, you 100% need to take advantage of that interaction, and so again, that's why we are using a Divinity, and that means there's kind of two different options when it comes to your featured exotic. So you can get the one phase with the Cenotaph Mask. This is going to let you shoot constantly with the Divinity, never have to take a break to reload, but again, damage is super tight. So we actually were getting one phases with a Warlock using the Sanguine Alchemy. Now you may be thinking, wait a minute, this just applies to the Warlock. You're only going to get that 10% marked increase to target damage, a bonus for the Divinity. Yes, seriously, again, damage is that tight, and to that end, even the Divinity user should be using all 3 arc weapon surges. Again, that is how tight the damage is. You want the Divinity user to be doing max DPS as well. So again, I'm not saying the Sanguine Alchemy is required. I think you can absolutely do it with either the Cenotaph Mask or the Sanguine Alchemy. And again, you can hot swap, right? You can run the Speaker's Sight for the rest of the encounter and make it a lot easier on yourself, and then while you are hiding behind cover waiting for damage to start, just hot swap to a different exotic if you can, guys. And that is really it for the requirements. Of course, you want to be using a great machine gun for ad clearing for the rest of the encounter, but what you use aside from the Divinity is really up to you. Now, you may want to incorporate some arc weapon reserves, but we really did not find that necessary, especially for the 2 Titans. Like, I always had ammo by the end of the encounter, and I was shooting the entire time. Like, it's a little bit tight, but again, we didn't find it too necessary. Maybe the Divinity user can use 1 arc reserves just in case for the extra ammo. But that's it for the builds. As for the strategy, the main thing is, where should you DPS this guy from? Because if you're just out in the open, if you're behind a pillar, he will travel all around the arena and he can come right up to you, and importantly, if he gets you with his Strand Blast, he will suck you out of the well and throw you across the room and just ruin your entire DPS phase. And that is really the unfortunate part of this. No matter where you are in this arena, there's a chance that he will just get you. I'm going to be showcasing you some spots that will massively mitigate this, but sometimes he just hides behind a pillar for like 5 seconds and the one phase is gone, right? So it is unfortunately inconsistent. However, might as well go for the one phase, because if you do get it done, man, it makes the farming a lot faster. So there's kind of 3 different spots that are more optimal. The first one is right here in this left corner, and you hide behind this circular pillar. Now, another place is going to be over here to the right side of the map, kind of very near where you enter into that right room. You hide behind this big like square slab right here. But unfortunately, even though a lot of people do like this, we didn't find it that amazing because he walks right up and goes right behind this square slab, making it really difficult to shoot him. The place we got the best results was in the far back right corner right here. You have one slab that you can use to hide from the burning damage, and then you have that cylindrical like little pillar. That cylindrical pillar is what you're going to use to kind of peek out of and bait those strand attacks. So you can see, like, when you see the strand attacks coming, just dip back behind the pillar, and then the strand attacks will actually hit the pillar and dissipate without grabbing anyone out of the well. So that is really important when you are here, and you can see in the background gameplay me doing this. You are peeking out of cover and again hiding back in when those strand attacks occur. Now, the whole damage phase is going to go like this. You get into position, you pop the well, and also you're going to cast your barricades right as damage begins, even maybe when the last little bit of shield is still going down, so you're 100% ready to go the second he's available to damage. You absolutely go to town with your Queensbreakers the entire time. You recast your Titan barricade when it's available, and during a reload, if you can again throw one jolting grenade, that can help as well. Now the well will actually run out, so make sure if you're the Warlock to cast a Rift, especially if you are using Sanguines, because the Rift does provide the Sanguines bonus after that well is gone. Then we get to the Thunder Crashes, so you're going to do as much damage as possible. Now importantly, this is key. You're going to start to take burning damage again near the end of the phase, but you actually have a decent amount of time while the burning effect is going on that you can still damage this guy. So you can see we're actually taking more shots while the burning damage is going on, and we're using cover to peek just out of it to still damage this boss while this is happening, and we are counting down. Ready? 3, 2, 1, Thunder Crash. And then you get your 2 uber damaging Kuros Thunder Crashes in, and that should be how you secure the 1 phase. Importantly, you do actually want to time this, because if one Thunder Crash goes before the other, because that Thunder Crash player is close, the boss will cast a Suspending Blast, and the second Thunder Crash player will actually get caught in the Suspending Blast and not get his Thunder Crash off. That happened a few times with us. It was brutal. So you want to be casting your Thunder Crashes at the exact same time, so you hit him at the same time and no one gets suspended. And so guys, there you have it. That is going to be how to get a 1-phase kill on the final boss of the Sundered Doctrine Dungeon. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus, that is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.